It's MLB All-Star Week, by far the best All-Star event in pro sports. I don't even have to defend that take. NFL and NBA fans will tell you themselves that their All-Star events suck. As a fan of all three sports, the MLB All-Star Game is the only one I even watch at this point. Maybe the NBA, only because there's nothing else on in late February, but I don't think I've watched the Pro Bowl since Odell was wearing those hideous gray and neon jerseys. So what makes MLB's different? Why did last season's Midsummer Classic get over 50% more viewership than this year's Pro Bowl and NBA All-Star Game? What makes it not only watchable, but also fun? Luckily for you, I've compiled a list, a few bullet points that make all the difference. I'll save the far and away most important point for last, but even the first, relatively small point matters. And that point is that MLB's All-Star Game is during the middle of the season. There's a good amount of build-up in the weeks prior to the game. The NFL sticks the Pro Bowl during the week off before the Super Bowl, when NFL fans are looking forward to, you guessed it, the Super Bowl. Do you really think NFL players want to play another football game after 17 regular season games plus playoffs? Of course not, and that's why half of the selections drop out before the game. Putting the game at a near midpoint of the season gives players and fans a benchmark date to look forward to. MLB players have a fun event to honor them before a few days off halfway through the grind of the season. They get to meet up with other stars of the league and pick up some tips, like when Mariano Rivera taught Roy Halladay his cutter at the 2008 game. For the players, it's an accolade and event worth striving for. And from the fan perspective, there are 3 months of stats to decide who to vote for, and thus plenty of discourse about who deserves a spot and who doesn't. Everything I've said so far also applies to the NBA, which brings me to my second point. If you're a fan of MLB, your vote matters most. All 9 position player starters for each league are directly determined by the fans, regardless of changes they've made in recent years. The NBA switched to a mix of fan, media, and player votes in 2017, where the fans only account for half of the process. In a vacuum, I understand prioritizing fairness. Fans can't always be trusted to make the correct picks, but even with this change, not everyone will be happy with the results. Lord knows media members and players don't always get it right either. And as for the NFL, fan voting only accounts for a third of the Pro Bowl, and half of the players who get voted in don't even play. Watching the starters take the field knowing you at home voted for them is now exclusively part of the MLB experience. The third point might not matter that much to you guys, but I absolutely love having the game at a different venue every year. Every MLB All-Star Game has such a distinct vibe because each stadium is so unique. The NBA does the same, but it doesn't always feel that different year to year as a TV viewer. Let me know if this is just a me thing, but I think the rotating venue gives the game so much personality and memorability. On the other hand, when the NFL did their Pro Bowl in Hawaii, that was fun and special. It was like a vacation for the players after the season, but the NFL hasn't done that in a decade. It's been in Arizona, Orlando, or Vegas ever since. Pat McAfee mentioned a few years ago that he skipped his last Pro Bowl because it was in Orlando instead of Hawaii.
I love Hawaii, man. You make a Pro Bowl, you think you're going to Hawaii. Instead, we went to the desert in Arizona. And then the next time I made a Pro Bowl, it was in Orlando. I was like, I'm out. I mean, come on.
The MLB All-Star Game traveling across the country has contributed to a ton of big moments over the history of the game. Ichiro's inside the park homer only happens in San Francisco. Or what about Reggie Jackson homering onto the roof of Tiger Stadium?
It is off the roof. That hit the transformer up there.
Then there's Torrey Hunter robbing Barry Bonds of a homer in Milwaukee. The ballpark is a massive part of the story in every one of these moments. Who could forget Josh Hamilton sending off Yankee Stadium with the greatest home run derby performance ever? And that brings me to my fourth point. The Home Run Derby is far and away the coolest supplementary event of any All-Star game. Again, do I even have to defend this one? Granted, there have been some incredible dunk contests in my life, But the most prominent participant of this decade is a G-Leaguer who they unfreeze from stasis just to do the dunk contest. Imagine if Bobby Dahlbeck won the Home Run Derby multiple times. That's right, you can't, because the Home Run Derby winner is almost always a superstar. Aaron Judge, Vladdy Jr. and Sr., Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, Pete Alonso, Giancarlo Stanton, Prince Fielder, Robbie Cano, David Ortiz, the list goes on and on. There's been about a dozen memorable performances since the last truly great dunk contest. Aaron Judge scraping the ceiling in Miami, Bryce Harper winning in front of his home fans, Ohtani and Soto's 500-foot swing-off at Coors. Last year's Derby was probably the most boring in over a decade, just because it was a weaker group of players. But this year's group is loaded. The Home Run Derby was absolutely must-see TV as a kid, and it still can't miss to this day. The same can't be said about the other All-Star events. All of these points matter to some extent. When you add them all up, MLB already has a decent lead over the other leagues. The Pro Bowl isn't even close. It's pretty much a laughingstock at this point. But the NBA All-Star Weekend doesn't seem too far behind. Maybe with a few stars in the dunk and three-point contest, it would compete, right? But the final and easily most important point swings this entirely in the direction of MLB. The MLB All-Star Game is a real, competitive baseball game. It seems like a no-brainer, but this is why people watch. I understand that it's not practical for NBA and NFL stars to try hard during an exhibition, but just imagine how much better those games would be if the best players in their respective leagues were actually trying to compete against each other. There are flashes in the NBA game, ISO matchups where players try to play some defense sometimes, but for the most part, nobody's moving their feet on defense and there's a ton of cherry picking. Imagine a serious competitive football game where Josh Allen drops back, tries to find Jamar Chase deep, and Jalen Johnson's guarding him, and it was all real. That's what people would watch, not whatever this is. I don't blame the players. Why risk injury in an exhibition? The years of Sean Taylor decapitating punters in Hawaii are over, and there's not much the leagues can do. Teams invest too much in the players, and the players have too much riding on their health. I'm not here to offer solutions to the other leagues. I just hope MLB fans can appreciate that we have a perfect system for this. It'll live in my mind forever how Max Scherzer started the 2017 All-Star Game, grunting through every pitch as he overpowered the AL stars. An example from a little before my time is Pedro Martinez striking out 5 of 6 batters to start the 1999 game. He did this at Fenway in front of his home fans and in front of Ted Williams. And look at the players he faced. Hall of Famer, Sosa, Big Mac, Hall of Famer. Come on now, you can't find that anywhere else. What about Bo Jackson hitting a ball 450 feet with Alzheimer's Ronald Reagan on the call?
He winds up playing football.
The Cobra, Dave Parker, throwing out 2 runners from right in 1979. Moise Alou doubling in Tony Gwynn and walking off the 94 game less than a year after what looked like a potential career-ending injury. You can pull these moments from games every few seasons. Now, we've moved beyond the Pete Rose bulldozing Ray Fosse level of competitiveness, and there are plenty of lighthearted, unserious moments, like Nelson Cruz getting a pick with Joe West before his at-bat. Photo credits to Yachty. Mic'd up players work best in this environment since they're playing a looser game. In fact, I think this game and spring training should be the only time players are mic'd up while they're playing.
I got the mic on today.
It's an entertainment spectacle now more than ever, but it still takes itself seriously. It's 95% of a normal MLB game in terms of competitiveness, even since it stopped determining the World Series home field advantage. Each pitcher gets an inning or less of work, so they can go all out without worrying. And outside of that, baseball isn't a high-impact sport, so guys are going to swing for the fences in their few at-bats and hope they connect.
That ball is hammered to left center field. Goodbye!
The final thing MLB does better than anyone else is honor its sunsetting vets. While it was actually deserved, Mariano Rivera entering his final All-Star game in 2013 was incredible, or Derek Jeter, who certainly didn't deserve to make the team, leading off his final game with a double. Shout out Wayno. Cal Ripken Jr. did something similar, smacking a homer in his final All-Star game after A-Rod gave up his position at short. It's a beautiful, perfect mix of entertainment, honor, and serious competitive baseball. I appreciate that even in this era of load management, caution, and cold hard logic, our game still has space for the Midsummer Classic. Let me know your thoughts on the state of All-Star games across sports in the comments below, and hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed. Shout out to my channel members Misty, Zach G, Ethan, Alex, Mammoth, Zach E, Vikram, El Quacko, Richard, JJ, John, Ryan, Jackson, Fly, Basti, Sophie, Your Mad Woman, Max V, Center Lion, Not Named, VFix, and Okay Then But Why. I once again apologize for not getting this one out early. I just started making this video Friday and I had to get it out before the Home Run Derby. Don't worry, you'll get the next one early, as well as the exclusive content I'm putting out this summer. Thanks so much for watching.